Focus. What do you see? Who are they? Where do you think they're coming from? Hiding from? Why am I here?
The body was found floating in the Meadowlands.
Focus. What do you see? It looked like someone was hit.
My brother gets very angry.
You have a neurological disorder preventing you from remembering exactly what happened that night, is that right?
I've been recording these tapes for my daughter. It helps keep me from zoning out.
This condition of yours will slowly eat away at your cognitive capabilities.
I gotta get out of here. Can you drive?
I don't want any trouble. Focus. I just want to spend whatever time I have left with my daughter. If you feel yourself zoning out, rewind tape.
Can I ask what you've done since last Tuesday?
Focus. Am I a suspect?
If you wanted to get away, where would you go?
What do you see? You see people for who they really are when they think no one is watching. It's just you and whatever else is out there in the dark. Focus.
I think whoever did this didn't even mean to do it. They panicked, trying to clean it up.
If you feel yourself zoning out, rewind tape. Focus.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have with us here today the amazing director and star slash writer of the new film Gazer, which comes out April 4th in limited. We have Ariella Mastroianni and Ryan Sloan. What's going on, guys?
Hi.
How are
Thanks
you?
for having us.
Dude, I am so excited to have you guys. This is my favorite film of Fantastic Fest. I told you this when I got out.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic film that centers on Frankie, played by Ariella, who she has dysynchrometria, which is a disease that allows her to not understand the passage of time in a correct manner. She witnesses what she perceives as a crime, and that's basically our basic premise. This was shot on 16 mil, which was my favorite part of the entire thing. Can you talk about why you chose to make this film, Ryan, and why Ariella was the perfect person to star in the movie that you guys wrote together?
Well, that's a great question. It kind of goes back to the pandemic, so I'm just going to take you back there for a second. Ariel was furloughed from her job at the Angelica Film Center, where she was a programmer. I was considered an essential worker as an electrician. I was working in a prison, so things were pretty grim at the moment. But we were reflecting on where we were, where we wanted to be, the things that we thought we'd be doing at this point in time. And Ariel's been training as an actor her whole life. I've been dreaming about directing mine. And we decided it's time to make that film. It's time to make that film that we've been talking about making for years. We sat down, we started going through films that we both loved, and we found this common ground very quickly, very easily amongst films like Antonioni's Blow Up, Coppola's The Conversation, De Palma's Blowout, Hitchcock's Vertigo, Polanski's Chinatown, et cetera, et cetera. And we found this consistent theme in these films that followed a male protagonist. It was a character study mixed up with some kind of layered mystery thriller, and none of those films had a female lead, and we thought it would be very interesting to explore that. And Ariel was simultaneously reading Oliver Sacks's The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, which deals with all different types of ataxias. And she, thank God, was curious if there was a time perception disorder. And there was one called dyschronometria. We started researching it. We started talking to some neurologists. We wanted to make sure that we weren't going to be disrespectful with how we portray it. And we ended up getting married to this idea of this woman with this condition who witnesses a crime and is doesn't know what she witnesses actually, and is trying to just get back to her daughter and save up some money before the disease takes her over. So we just basically set a date. We said April 2021, we are going to start shooting this movie. And April 2021, we shot the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie. And that was the beginning of our journey. And we just made the movie that we wanted to see. That was the most important thing to us. And like I said, I feel very fortunate to know Ariella and to be collaborating with Ariella because we share the same taste in cinema and music and everything, kind of. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. We're gonna get to that in a minute too. That it, dude, this movie is kind of dastardly in the way it's delivered as well. You go in and you're watching this thing and you're not quite sure what you're about to get yourselves into, and then you get this beautiful cinematography. I met your cinematographer Matthias at
Yeah.
Fantastic Festival. We were talking about how like the 16 was the right choice, and it's a crazy choice because it's expensive. It's expensive as shit. To shoot 16. Why was that the right medium to tell this story?
Well, I'm part of the film celluloid enthusiast crowd where I kind of just I grew up, all the films that I mentioned, all the films that I grew up watching were shot on film, so it just feels natural to me. There's something living and breathing about films that are shot on celluloid that I feel like is not there with digital personally. And this isn't a film versus digital conversation, but I do think that the 16 mil did work very well with this story because we are using the town that I grew up in, which has a very gritty look and feel. And I really wanted to capture what was left of this town before it's completely gentrified and turned into little square boxes for people to pay $6,000 to live in. Um, so that's kind of my answer on 16 mil.
Yeah, but also
I like that.
narratively, Frankie is forced to live an analog life in today's, very high-tech digital world. And we kind of uh ran that throughout all parts of the film. It's present in the analog 16 mil. It's also present in Steve's score.
Cassette tapes.
Yeah, the cassette tapes. We kind of yeah, we follow that through line, and we emphasize that, and we build upon that through all of the levels of filmmaking.
I actually really liked that little addition with the videotapes. It really added a lot of character to Ariella as well because she's so prepared and understands her disease so much that she is sort of prepared for most anything. But there's this underlying thread to her, and this is all on you, Ariella, as a performer, putting that underlying dread in the audience's psyche of is she who she says is what's happening, and what I see is what I'm seeing real, because you can't trust anything that we the audience are looking at because we don't know if we're looking at it from her perception.
Mhm. Well, I mean, that was the fun part of this, uh, of writing this story. We are seeing everything from Frankie's perspective, but Frankie's perspective
Limited.
is limited. Yeah, and she's at the same time trying to interpret what she is seeing and what she is getting involved in. But that also relates to her psyche. Once we enter Frankie's kind of emotional landscape, that is also through her limited perception as well. It's her interpretation of the way she feels about what has happened. It is this trauma that she's carrying with her that she's trying to navigate as well. So there is this dialogue with the audience, where Frankie is, I think she is letting us see as much as she is able to. But that was a really, really fun tool for us as writers.
Mhm.
It forced us to also examine everything happening off screen, so we knew uh, where to place Frankie. Frankie is coming into this investigation at the tail end of another investigation. Everyone's, in terms of the other two supporting characters of the film, they're on their own journeys, and Frankie is kind of caught in the middle of that. So Ryan and I had to really map out where everyone was at any given time off screen to find what information Frankie is learning.
And I won't go too much into it because I don't want to spoil anything about the movie, but there's some really awesome visual cues in the movie as well that sort of set the audience at an unease, and it works so well. Uh, but I won't go into that because I don't want to give away anything, because this is a movie that definitely has to be taken in on the whole without any sort of expectations, without any sort of like spoilers to it.
Appreciate that.
One thing I want to mention, I mentioned it's my favorite movie from Fantastic Fest. We talked a little bit there. we had huge praise for it on our podcast. None of my staff have seen it, so if you guys could send us a copy, I'd love to show the staff so they can understand why I'm so correct about this. Um, I wanted to ask you two questions that we ask all of our guests before we let you go. The first one's easy. We know who your film inspirations were. You guys said you had similar taste in music. What do you guys listen to?
9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, baby.
I love Gangs of Youth. I'm a big fan of.
Good choice.
Yeah, I mean, we all it's interesting. We listen to a lot of different types of music, but we grew up in the hardcore New Jersey scene together. You know, I have to shout out some friends. The Number 12 Looks Like You.
Yeah.
Hell yes, I love the Number 12 Looks Like You. I love them.
Oh my gosh!
Put on your rosy glasses. Put on your rosy glasses. The great album.
Under Oath.
Yeah, Under Oath. But
I'm
yeah.
wearing a Silverstein shirt actually. This is
Hell yeah!
yeah.
That's where we come from.
Exactly.
And you know what? Actually, I would say I have so much respect for that era of music, and what I love so much is it is so DIY. It was musicians, especially in that music scene, they do everything themselves. You know, they self-recording it.
Yeah.
They find their audience. They get their shows. They make everything happen. And I feel like we learned a lot growing up in that music scene in terms of how we made Gazer.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't waiting for anyone to do anything for us.
We've attacked it a lot like we were a band.
We were a band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Ryan, you told me that you didn't even have permits to shoot some of these scenes, that you just shot them on the street.
Oh yeah, no permits. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because you mentioned that, because like if you look at a band like from New Jersey, like Thursday, so many bands out of the New Jersey scene have to thank Jeff Rickley and Thursday for even existing, like My Chemical Romance, things like that, because they wouldn't exist without Jeff Rickley and those guys.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really funny you mentioned that as an inspiration, because you can see the DIY all over this film. The second question is much harder, and you're not going to like this one.
Uh-oh.
You only have 2 movies to watch for the rest of your life. What 2 and why?
For the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yep. And you got a long way because y'all are still really young. So.
Okay.
2 movies for the rest of my life.
Is good. Okay. I would go Doctor Strangelove.
Good choice.
And They Live, John Carpenter.
No, that's the best choice. I love that movie. It's my favorite Carpenter.
So good.
So I didn't expect this answer. Okay. I think on the one hand, for the rest of my life, a movie that I probably just like couldn't. I think gosh, this is so hard. Okay. I want to say The Conversation because I just love that. It just never gets old. I just love
Yes.
every single time. It was such a huge inspiration and reference for Gazer. And then on the other hand, I would watch The Family Man because it's my mom's
the Nick Cage movie.
It's my mom's favorite film, and if I were to live this life on my own, I would want to be reminded of her, and I just like feel so much joy every time I watch that film.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful film too. I mean, Nick Cage, who's Tay Leone's also in that too.
Yeah,
Really plays his wife.
So
Yeah, it's a great
good.
film.
Yeah.
Good choices, guys.
Are
Good.
you
Oh,
smiling?
What are you smiling about?
I love it. Those are great choices. I love those opportunities. Thank you guys for joining us. This film does
You have
come
to
out
tell us,
April.
what are your 2 movies? What are your 2 movies?
All right. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and It Happened One Night.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck.
Okay, great.
choices.
I love it. You just right out of the gate.
Love it.
I have 4 at any given moment that run through my head that I could pick.
Yeah.
The film comes out April 4th in limited, and I believe it's April 23rd in France if you're French. So make sure you check out Gazer. This movie's absolutely unbelievable. I loved it. You guys have got to come on the podcast. We would love to have both of you on as guests, because I think we would talk about like really fun stuff, because you get to pick the topic.
Hell yeah, that'd be great.
We could just go on gabbing.
Thank you guys for joining me so much. Exactly. Thank you so much for having me in here, guys, today. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you check the movie out. Is there anything else you want to leave the audience with before we let you go?
No.
Just spread the word.
Spread the word. See the film in theaters. And yeah, reach out to us at any time.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram. We love talking about movies.
Hell yeah.
See the damn movie. It's so good. And I will be expecting a copy of this film in my email by day's end. And that goes out to you, right? Okay, bye.
you later, William. Thank you.
You